What's up, guys? Rick here with your preview for this week's Procore Championship. We are back. We are back in Napa. It is good to see you all. I hope you all enjoyed your 8 days of the off season because we are back to business right now. The fall portion of the schedule kicking off with a very, very strong field thanks to the U.S. Ryder Cuppers. But before we get to that in just 1 second, 2 quick announcements. Number 1, the Listener League is back. Splash has spun us up a listener league again for this week. So it's a tiers contest. You pick one golfer from each of 6 tiers. We've done this every single week. Let's stick it to Splash. They made it a little bit smaller on us. Only $10,000 of guaranteed funds. We were getting $25,000 last year. I guess they're a little bit concerned about how we're going to deal with the fall. I don't care about football. I don't care about college football. I don't care about any of that. Let's fill it very quickly, stick it to them, and make them give us more money in guaranteed funds. But anyway, this is guaranteed. Someone's going to win $2,000 off their $25 entry. It's very fun. It's very simple. They are adding new things. I saw that they added like the ability to bulk upload and stuff. I don't know if it's for tiers yet, but there's just a lot of good stuff. The Survivor contest we filled our NFL Survivor contest very quickly. Awesome stuff. Very happy. Thank you all very much. Number 2, as many of you know, this is the time of year where I go through all the projects that I've been working on or wanting to work on and getting everything situated and making updates to the site and the data and all that fun stuff. I just pushed an update to the Holy Grail. So you're going to see this as I go through videos, you're going to see the Holy Grail looks different. The idea is it's basically the same, right? You still have your aggregation at the top, and then you have your logs down at the bottom. It is the goal of this was to give you more data in a more organized fashion. So hopefully I've done that. The tabs across the top by tournament, by round, by season, and then the stats sheet should look very familiar to you. When you drop down the filters, you're going to see more options. You're getting wind data now, which Lordy, it's 2025 and Rick's got the wind data on the site, but I've done it my way, which is radar measured, not just going back and looking at historical stuff. But this is, as far as I'm aware, as accurate of wind data as I can get. So I'm happy with that. I've got preferred lies in here. You can filter a lot more things. 6 tours dating back to 1997. It's probably too much data. You probably don't need it all. The stats page looks different as well. It is hopefully more organized where you can click through and see all the stat values, all the stat rankings. If you want to look at a specific player and see all their stats, or if you want to see one stat for all the players, you can do that. So hopefully this is more organized. This is easier to use, but still with as much, actually a lot more data along the way. So if you run into any issues, let me know, but that's brand new. That's on the site right now. Okay. Let's get to this week and go to the course key stats page. Silverado, the North Course, Silverado Resort. This is these guys go to Napa. They like to take the family and they like to check out the wineries and all that fun stuff and play a little golf along the way. This will be, I haven't seen the final numbers yet, but this will be like the strongest field they've ever had because they're getting 10 of the 12 U.S. Ryder Cup players. So no Bryson. Obviously, he's not a PGA Tour member, and Xander is not playing. Everybody else is here. We'll get to Scotty Scheffler and all them in just 1 second. If you look at this golf course, so we've got all the data here. We've got all the regression models, and we're starting to look for things that stick out, and you're not really seeing it. From a statistical standpoint, this is a pretty average PGA Tour course. There's not a skill set or skill sets that really pop off the page. You're seeing that in the regression model right now. If you dive into the highest ranked secondary stats, what do you get? You get approaches from 125 to 150 in the rough. That's not very good. Driving efficiency, longest drives, approach putt performance. That's lag putts. Approaches from 250 to 275, consecutive greens in regulation. Where's the trend, right? We are looking for the through line. I don't see it. So this is about as average as it gets from a statistical standpoint. You'll see, for the most part, being more accurate off the tee is better than being long off the tee. You'll see that guys like Scotty Scheffler and Cam Champ and Cam Young, the longer hitters, when you do take the data and you apply it to the way the guys have played over the last 36 rounds, they do get a little bit of a bump here. But it's the first start for some of these guys since the Wyndham Championship. Everybody has gotten a couple of weeks off. I will probably just be throwing a lot of course fit stuff out the window and just kind of looking at some of the raw, like, just give me the best players, give me the best lineups that I can make. Let's find a little bit of value in this field, and we'll go from there. The cheat sheet is like, look at this guy at the top, $14,400 Scotty Scheffler. He's the most expensive player on the slate. Justin Thomas, 10-2. Hey, JT. $10,000 for Russell Henley. That's it. 3 golfers above 10K. A couple of items for Scotty Scheffler. 14,400. Is that the most expensive we have ever gotten for Scotty Scheffler? I believe at least ties it. Yeah. He was also 14,400 at the US Open earlier this year. He was 14,200 at the Open earlier this year. And those are the only two times in his career he has been over $14,000. He is also the shortest odds to win that I have on record. So I've been taking the data back to, I have the odds data at least 7 years worth. Scotty Scheffler, as of this moment, is plus 210 to win this golf tournament. That is not only the shortest he's ever been, but it is the shortest in a full field event by a mile. So if you go and look at some of the other times where Scotty was short, it's like, oh, Tour Championship, BMW Championship, Hero World Challenge, stuff like that. Very, smaller fields. This is a full field event. He is plus 210. The next shortest he has been in a full field event, I think he was plus 380 at like the Memorial. Might have been plus 340, something like that. But this is, maybe it was plus 280. I don't know. Either way, this is definitely the shortest in a full field event outside. I think the most recent one was Charles Schwab of this year was his second shortest. What I'm getting at is the fantasy price is not prohibitive. Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the field. It is not even just remotely close. Let me refresh that. Oh, there we go. He is a stroke better than anybody else, at least in whatever number of rounds that you want to look at. The only reason he's not a bigger gap is because there are other US Ryder Cuppers here. This is not that, Charles Schwab situation where he is the only player in the field. But this is diabolically good. The only concern, and again, this takes Scotty from a 10 out of 10 or 100 out of 100 to a 99 out of 100, is that this is the first time he's ever played here. And this is the first time he has added a new event since the 2024 Pebble Beach Pro-Am. He has only added 2 events since the start of 2023. Every other event he's played at least once. I'm not including the Olympics. That was in that stretch as well. He gets better every time he plays it. So on average, he picks up 4 strokes per round, 4 strokes per tournament in his first time playing a golf course or playing an event. Then it goes up to like 6 in his second time. And then 3 through 7 are like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Just like it's incredible. So that is the only concern there. But Scotty's going to be in the mix. He's going to be great. I'm getting him in as many fantasy lineups as I can. There is no Rory here. There is no Xander here. Justin Thomas being the second best player, or at least the second most expensive player, is a sizable gap. The 9K range. And here's the rest of the US Ryder Cup team and Maverick McNeely. Sorry, Mav, you got snubbed. You're in the 9K range, but you're not on the team. So here's the thing. $9,400 Ben Griffin, $9,300 Cameron Young are 2 of the hottest players in the world right now. Last 36 rounds, if you look at their trend, strokes gained trend, which is what their 100 round baseline is, plus what they're doing in the last 36, they are 2 and 3 behind Scotty Scheffler. So Cam Young's trend number is 1.9 strokes per round. Ben Griffin's is 1.6. That's part of why they have gotten themselves on to the Ryder Cup team. Ben Griffin has been fantastic all year long. Cameron Young has been really good in his last 6 or 7 starts. But if you look at what these guys do well, it translates well on the course key stats page. Ben Griffin, I think, is routinely underpriced. You're not going to convince me otherwise of that. And there's a lot of room for improvement here. And then Cam Young literally played himself onto this team after winning the Wyndham and then having a great run through the FedEx Cup playoffs, which resulted in a T4 finish at the Tour Championship. The putter has been scorching hot. He's back to driving it well. You're going to see me have a lot of exposure to Ben Griffin and Cameron Young. Outside of that, where do we go? Right? This would be a very interesting time to buy in on Colin Morikawa. I always love, these guys that have question marks or issues, which Colin absolutely does. When you get them after a few weeks off, and I know it's only been 2 weeks, but I feel like that's when you want to get, it gets them out of the travel grind. It gets them out, like they get home, they get to recoup, they get to sit down with their coach, start figuring stuff out, look at the tape, put something into play. It's hard to put something into play when you are on the road every single week playing a golf tournament. Now is the time to put something into play. And for a lot of these guys, it's just a simple thought or one little change, and they can have a good week. So I don't expect Colin Morikawa to be particularly popular. He's $9,100. There's a lot of good names in this range. I'm going to be interested to see what his ownership looks like when we get to Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time for the live chat. Maybe one of my favorite options in this 9K range is JJ Spaun, who routinely gets slept on, coming off by far the best year of his career. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. So here's JJ Spawn's radar page. I mean, he picked up a stroke per round in 2025. Again, by far the best year of his career. And what we have from JJ is he played a lot of golf. Like right after the US Open, just continued to play a lot of golf, played a lot of great golf. I think he lost a little bit of steam and ran out of gas towards the end of the year. The putter lost him, but he's still a very good putter when he's got that lab in hand. The interesting thing about JJ Spaun is as the expensive guys go, he has played here more than anybody. He's played every event since this event every year since 2016, which is like, really? Yeah, because he's kind of had to, right? Just now is he a major champion. Just now is he getting into everything. And the results are very good. He's never lost strokes off the tee here. He's finished 26th and 11th in his last two. This is all positive stuff. And now he's the best he's ever been, going back to a place where he's got more experience than anybody else in a range where he's not going to be particularly popular. So yeah, JJ Spaun at $9,100 is $9,200 feels like a pretty good steal. The 8K range is where things get fun, right? We're basically out of Ryder Cuppers. Harris English is there. He's $8,900, but we're out of Ryder Cuppers, and we have a lot. We've got Jackson Koiven, who just played in the Walker Cup, went 3-0-1. I believe he's the number one amateur in the world. It's not particularly close. And when he has played in PGA Tour events, he has played really well. So he is, coming from Cyprus. This is not it's not a big travel ask for him. Maybe he's tired from a week at the Walker Cup. He's an unbelievable putter. This kid is so good. I'm worried about a little bit of a hangover, but he's like 20 years old. He's probably got all the energy in the world. He's incredible. He's $8,500. Max Homa. We got to have the conversation. So we have not seen Max since the Wyndham. So now this has been over a month. He was getting tangible improvement on the golf course in his last month of the year. That is a very low bar considering his year was a absolute disaster. But if you talk about getting guys after a little bit of a break, putting in the hard work, getting with their coaches, and then going back to a course that has been so good to him. 2 wins in 2021 and 2022, finished 7th in 2023. If you go into the Holy Grail, let's do this. Let's go open filters. Everybody in this field let's go since 2020 at Silverado. I'm certain minimum 2 starts that Max Homa is going to be, 1.87 strokes per round. Of guys who've played at least 5 times, second to only Sahith during that range. We'll get to Sahith in just a second. So this is, again, like, is anybody going to be interested in playing Max Homa? Is he going to be very low owned? We'll see. But this is the moment to be early, and then we'll reassess. We'll reassess again next week or whenever we see him play again. Here's Akshay Bhatia's profile. He's $8,700. He is, I don't think people realize how good the approach numbers were in the second half of last year. So after the US Open, he did not lose strokes on approach all year long or all the rest of the year, gained at least 1.5 per round. Some of them are 2 and 3. If you go to the power rankings and sort this by, I have last 35 rounds on approach, I'm going to assume Akshay's pretty high on this list. He is. He's 4th. So it's Scotty Scheffler, Ben Coles, Martin Laird, Akshay Bhatia. And compared to guys like Laird and Coles, who are hemorrhaging on the putting surfaces and short game in general, Akshay was a loser there, but not nearly as bad as those guys. We've got to get the putter figured out. You can't be 23 years old using a broomstick and putting poorly. So we're going to have to figure that part out. He's played here 3 times. He's missed the cut twice. He's finished 9th in 2020. So this is a really interesting spot to deploy Akshay as well. Here's the 7K range. And now this is a Procore field now, or a Fries.com field, or a Safeway Open field, or whatever you want to call it. This is, we have to start with Taylor Montgomery, who if you've been watching me as I've been flipping through, the power rankings and all this stuff, you see Taylor Montgomery's name, like, what the hell is going on here? Well, there's good and bad news. The bad news is 2025 did not go great for Taylor Montgomery, to the point where he actually played a handful of Korn Ferry Tour events, and his last 3 starts have been Korn Ferry Tour events. Now, the good news is he's played well in those. So having to go down and play them, he's played very well. And he lost strokes at the Boise Open. He missed the cut at the Boise Open, but that ended a streak of 9 consecutive events in which he gained strokes to the field. Now, they are some Korn Ferry Tour events. They are some of the weaker PGA Tour events. The T8 at the ISCO, that's an opposite field event. The T2 at the Utah Championship, that's a Korn Ferry Tour event. But a T12 at the 3M Open, that's not so bad. He's true to the DNA. He's one of the best putters on planet Earth. We are going to get that almost every single week. He is just, he's really wild off the tee, and he does not drive it far, and he drives it inaccurately, which is a horrible combination. And he's not a very good second shot player either, but he is finding a way to beat the field in 8 of his last 9 starts. So when you go through and look at all the ranking or all the power rankings and stuff, just keep that in mind that, some of it's Korn Ferry. You can decide whether or not that's good enough for you in this field. Max Meisner is coming off of a 14th place finish at the 3M Open, which I just gave credit for Taylor Montgomery for the same finish, and a runner-up finish at the Wyndham Championship. Now, look at this profile. These are 2 complete gains, which if you're new, that means picking up strokes in all 4 major categories. It is a really good sign. It is one of the best signs that we have of immediate, predictable success. Now, it's been a month. I would have liked this if it was just the following week, right? Guys that have complete gains, play the next week, it's much more likely that they do it again. It has been a month, but that's not his fault, right? It's a schedule. So I'm willing to still look at Max Meisner, still favorite his name, and still think, okay, this is a pretty good option for this week. We talked about Sahith Theegala, or at least I mentioned his name earlier. When you go back to the Holy Grail and you look at course history, you're going to see Sahith pop up on a lot of Silverado history. He's played 20 rounds here. He's gaining 2 strokes per round. Him and Justin Thomas are in a class of their own there. Now, JT, we've already talked about. That goes back a lot of years. Sahith's does not. Sahith's is the last 5 years. Sahith's 2025 was a lost year. Now, there was a really good article. Paul did an article on PGAtour.com where he interviewed Sahith, and his 2025 was just mired with injury. An oblique injury that he hurt himself at TGL, I think he said, and then a neck injury that really he tried to play through, should not have tried to play through it. The results were miserable. It ends up him basically shutting it down, not being able to play the BMW champion, just like it was a bad year. By all accounts, he is fit again. He's been working out again. He's got his weight back up. It seems to be positive. Obviously, it's not good to have these results, but to have these results tied to an injury as opposed to just bad play makes me feel a little bit better about it. Again, you're going to see me have exposure to try to be early on guys. Sahith, Morikawa, Max Homa, those are reasonable bets to be early on. We will reassess them same time next week. I'll be here. I think I've done this. I don't think I've missed a week in 10 years. So I'll be here But we can be positive on them right now. In the same vein, you could try to be early on Tom Kim. Now, this one will not, I will not have as much exposure to Tom Kim as those other guys that I want to be early on. But can we just assess this situation? International superstar Tom Kim is now $7,200 in a pretty weak field, a top heavy field, coming off a year where he was just bad. There were okay signs at the end of the year. I love the way he hit it at the John Deere and the Scottish Open and the 3M. His last 5 were not disasters. They weren't good, but they weren't disasters. This WD was weird at the Wyndham. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the WD was he was going to miss the cut and round 2 was delayed and they were going to finish it on Saturday and he was going to miss the cut anyway. So he just withdrew, I think is what that was. Obviously not a great sign. We're not going to be around for the weekend, but I don't think that was anything injury related or anything of that nature. I don't know if I'll be early on Tom Kim, but I am an interested observer. I think 2025, you can start it now, or we can look at it again in January for 2026. What does the next 15 months look like for Tom Kim? I don't know the answer, but I'm interested. The 6K range is fun. I think David Lipsky is correctly priced at $6,900. He is the best player in this range. Over the last 36 rounds, he's picking up about 2/3 of a stroke per round. And he's also the best player in this range when it comes to course history or tournament history, because he's got a runner-up finish here last year. He finished 30th 2 years ago, 22nd in 2021, one missed cut in there, but lots of good tee to green play, lots of good putting, especially over the last 2 years. So I think he is very, very accurately priced. And the last 5 starts for him, I mean, look at the night and day difference. Okay, so here's his last 10 starts. Starts 6 through 10 ago, he missed 5 straight cuts. He lost strokes to the field on all of them, lost strokes tee to green in every single one that was measured. And then a flip has switched. A switch has flipped. A flip has switched. A switch has flipped. And his last 10, his most recent 5 are excellent. 2 third place finishes, nothing worse than a 44th place finish. Green across the board. The tee to green numbers are great. I don't know what he found. I don't know what he found in Silvis, Illinois. And I don't know if he has kept it for the last month, but I'd sure like to find out because David Lipsky's been great. So just mental math. 21, 29. So the last 5 starts, he's picked up 30 strokes to the field. His 5 before that, he has lost 11, 15. So 45 stroke difference over 5 starts is very interesting. If you're looking for team no putt, Ben Coles, Martin Laird, you probably saw their names pop up on that approach play little thing that I did, that little filter that I put. I mean, the Ben Coles approach numbers are bonkers. +4, +6, +7, +6, +3, +3 in his last however many that is. Couple of decent results in there, but the putter is just horrendous. He's lost 9 strokes putting in his last 2 starts alone. He's lost 6 and 2.2 in Napa, so it's unlikely that he putts well, but if he does, watch out. Martin Laird, similar story. Now his approach numbers are coming from the European Tour. So I've got all the European Tour strokes gained as well. He's been knocking the cover off the ball across multiple tours. He struggles to putt, as you can probably imagine. The only difference for Martin Laird is that he has historically been a very good putter at Silverado. He's played here a ton. He's played here almost every year since 2008, but I guess they went to Silverado in 14. So he's played here every year. Is that every year? Except 2021. Which, did they have an event in 2021? Yeah, I don't remember. But he's played here basically every event for a decade. And he has lost strokes putting just 3 times. And he's picked up 7 strokes putting in his last 2 starts here. So he's going to make the trip from Ireland. But he's an international guy. He's used to making trips. Martin Laird would be a pretty decent candidate for picking up a stroke per round on approach, gaining a half a stroke per round with the putter, and just hoping things go well. There's a couple of young guys in here that are going to get really kind of their first cracks at this. You've got Jackson Suber, you've got Carl Phillips, who now, after the victory last year, kind of gets to reset and start. You've got, where is he? David Ford. Here's David Ford. Got in via PGA Tour U and played some PGA Tour events last year. It did not go well. But I will tell you that there is a big difference between kind of coming in here in the middle of the year and trying to get your feet wet, and then starting in Napa, prepared against, after the top 10 guys, a very weak field, right? Just incredible talent is David Ford. Probably not going to have a lot of exposure to him this week, but we are going to be watching very closely to see what David Ford does over his first handful of starts. You're going to see guys. We saw this. We see it every year. I think back to, remember when Taylor Montgomery dominated the fall? Or like there's going to be guys that during this, 7 or 8 event stretch look like superstars. And they might not be. They might not be. But like David Ford could have a very good fall. Would be a pretty good candidate for that. Ben Coles, David Lipsky. Like those are candidates for having a very good fall. Let's see what the model has to say. We're going to have to be pretty standard with this. So we're going to do last, now see, this is the time of year where I should reset some guys. Let's just do this for fun, right? Let's do last 100 rounds, weighted strokes gained total. So making sure that everybody gets leveled out and resetting a lot of guys who have had at least 2 weeks off. Some have had a month off. So I think that's fair. Let's fire up strokes gained approach in the last 36 for 20. Just give me a ton of opportunities and I'll figure it out from there. Give me a little bit of course history here. So we're going to go Silverado for not a ton. Just give me 10 there. And then we're going to go with, I've got a lot of weights left. Fantasy points gained for 15. Then let's do strokes gained 1 or more for 15. How often are you gaining at least a stroke to the field? And then let's do bonus putting for 15. Let's just see what this does. Whoa. My goodness. First off, this has to be a horrible model. Scotty Scheffler is 7th. Not a very good bonus putter. Wow. Patrick Cantlay is number 1. Colin Morikawa is number 2. Akshay 3. Ben Griffin 4. Burns 5. Patrick Fishburne 6. Scotty 7. Spawn 8. Henley 9. Justin Thomas is 10. God, Patrick Cantlay is going to win this, isn't he? That would be so annoying. Hasn't played here since 2019. Nearly won the Tour Championship. Struggled on Sunday. Man. Just like vintage Patrick Cantlay last 100 round model. What else is it? What has Patrick Fishburne been up to? There's another guy who has dominated a fall in his life. 8th at the Wyndham. Okay, this isn't bad. Look at this. I mean, the tee to green numbers are fantastic. The putting numbers are pretty good too. This might be low-key pretty good here. Played here last year, finished 3rd. Uh-oh. I might be in on the fish. I think I'm in on the fish. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. I will save this model. We can talk about it more on Wednesday. Wednesday live, we're rocking and rolling. Wednesday live chat, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We will cover everything you want. There's a fantastic, the BMW PGA Championship, which by the way, I've got the fields loaded in, and I'll load in the salaries when they happen, but I've got the BMW Championship field loaded into RickRunGood.com. I mean, this field, Rahm and Rory and Neiman and Fleetwood and Hideki's playing, and both the Højgaards are playing, and Victor's playing, and Patrick Reed's playing, and Hatton's playing. Fantastic field over there. So we can talk about that on Wednesday as well. But for now, it's been an absolute blast. Let's fill the splash contest. Let's rock and roll. Talk to you guys soon.